That's right. No question.
I'm trying to
Okay.
everybody,
Okay.
when he keeps saying control, 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 you make sure that you understand what he's talking about.
That's exactly, it's confusing me, is when we say control requirements, we have software requirements, whatever.
Yes.
So requirements normally don't have structures. Maybe some implicit. Okay. So you will say, we need this, we need that, whatever. These are requirements. Okay.
Yeah.
This need to be done, that. Okay. So when you say control process or control procedure, now there's a structure I can see. You put all these a set of requirements, you try to impose some structure on.
Yes.
And then you do this, do that, and then you make sure all these are consistent or something like that.
Yes. Yes.
So I really don't know what you mean by control requirements. You want to have a set of requirements, or you want to have a model which not only contain all these requirements but impose some structure on that.
Right.
Because you said operational semantics, operational model. When you say operational model, I mean some kind of control flow. There's some structure should be. Control
Okay.
structure.
Yes.
Is there a control requirement on this slide?
Yes, it's right here. It's right here. I will explain the control requirement. This is the control requirement. This is a typical example of the control requirement. X tends to Y, an evidence of the right after X done something. For instance, to read this one, this is the formal representation of a control requirement.
So you need to clarify what you mean by control requirement.
Right, so I try to clarify here. The control requirement, right. The control requirement is that the first kind of control requirement, what I call here about the evidentiary control, is to stipulate who will issue what kinds of evidence to whom and when in a procedure, when in a position in the procedure. So who issue to whom what kinds of evidence and when, that means before doing something. The second kind of control requirement is about what document, what right you need to compare, and if it's okay to proceed. And if it's not okay, to make a penalty or stop the process and so on. So there are two kinds of control requirements. The first one following this structure. The second one following this structure. This one is look like a decision making. The verification control is the decision making. And the methods here, the control requirement here is the result. What we want to implement in a computer aided tool is not only the requirement. Actually, this is this thing. This is the mechanism to generate the control requirement. So the input model a deontologic process of a transaction and give some information about the domain knowledge. The output will be the control requirement. So the implementation is here. The control principle and the algorithm that govern the application of the principles.
I believe there is a miscommunication between you and him, because from the software perspective, the requirement is the input. Whereas
That's
from
right.
From your perspective, the requirement is the output. And
Right.
That's where the confusion is
So what I want to see is what does the end result look like?
Right. Exactly, I know your perspective. Here, if you look here, I focus on this one, and I have the control requirement. And the control requirement is used to design the target procedure for implementation. This will be accomplished in the next stage of the research. The thing here is based on the deontologic process. What is the requirement of a procedure need to be implemented in order to prevent fraud?
May I try another term? May help, right? The idea here is that these four boxes, this is an AI type heuristic search. And the control, what he's calling the control requirements are goals. Goals, formally specified goals that have to be satisfied. Getting those goals clear to cover the range of controls is essentially what he's going for. It's not an informal requirement specification. It's a set And now he's got to tell us when he's got to complete the
Right, right.
goals. And it may be more appropriate to think
Yeah,
about these as...
Yeah, actually it's consistent, I see, because then you generate procedure how to do that. And then you are doing like front end of requirements elicitation more like, right? You try to get to the requirements about the control.
He wants...
Are you good at using?
No, I only need to look at the end result. Can you give me example what does the control requirements? What you get?
I will show
Yeah.
that soon. We're gonna hold on
Yeah.
the chat to go there. But this is the user requirement. User
Right.
requirement like you have a right to sell the product.
Yeah,
you have
that's
a
right, right.
From the user requirement, what is the control requirement to prevent opportunistic behavior?
Okay, I see.
For instance, if I ship the product without requiring you any evidence of the contract, then you may refuse that you receive the product and you don't make the payment to me. How to prevent that? So from the user requirement, it's about the contract, duty, right, and so on. Generate the requirement to ensure that the thing here is going properly. So this is, for me, this is the requirement. It's not the user requirement. I see your point. But
We call this requirement specification, actually, right? So you want to get control requirement specification.
Right, that's right. Control requirement specification.
That specification, because it's informal method. You're specifying the requirements. You're not just getting the requirements.
Right, but I think it's
Therefore,
more.
that word informal.
I think it has very much similarity with the hardware design, because in the hardware design you have a kind of user requirement. There's a very informal requirement.
It's similar. In software also it's the same. Yeah, you have user requirements.
And then you formal.
Then you specify. We call it, yeah,
you use some
requirement
formal language.
specification.
Who?
Yeah.
Which of these lines are manual and which of them are automatic?
Okay. This part will be done manually.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, this is
Yeah.
the kind to capture the user requirement
Right.
and to model is the deontologic process.
Okay.
Actually, this one is about describing the contract. Describing the contract between user, between trader.
Right, right. That's
So this is the deontologic process. From the deontologic process here, I generate the requirement, the control requirement, specification in your term, to prevent possible
You
opportunities.
generate it automatically.
Automatically, sure. Automatically. That's the reason of the formal method. The control requirement.
I think this term requirement is getting to be a red herring. It's
right.
It
Actually,
doesn't mean-
requirement specification. I see.
It's
Yeah. you-
confusing. This is a formal automatically generated. And so his real challenge is this arc. From an input of a deontic model generating a complete set
Right.
of control goals. I think I'm going to get you to switch the term to control.
But actually, his research also involved the first leg, right? From user requirements to deontological model,
Sure.
right?
Because you cannot generate this type of thing from any arbitrary form.
Answer that question.
Sure. The question is whether there is something involved in this way. The thing I do here is I provide a set of standard modeling concepts or a formalism for designer to capture and model this kind of thing. And I also demonstrate by modeling some of the transactions.
But just how that's done is outside your research.
Sure. I just demonstrate how to do which
So
certain
you provide the
procedure.
formalism, but how they do the deontic modeling is really outside your scope.
I help them a little bit. The formalism and some example, the way they can learn to model. The
But
way they
outside
can
the
learn-
claim of your dissertation.
Sure. Professor Nepal?
So we've been talking about control goals and control solutions, and we've got a lot of